Hello, Dr. Mark here from Adjusted Chiropractic here with some information that you may be interested in with regards to some research which I was just going through. So it's just come out. It's a new study. We'll get into it in a second. It reveals how Pycnogenol inhibits skin discoloration after spider vein treatment. So yeah, I might explain to you before I get into what um, Pycnogenol is, or what the procedures that the participants in this study went through. Very, very interesting. So I'll just share my screen so I can actually show you a bit of information here. Um, and you should be able to see, here's the study there up on the screen. So new study reveals Pycnogenol inhibits skin discoloration after spider vein treatment. Now, it goes on to state this study came out of Switzerland, out of Geneva. So a new study reveals that daily supplementation with Pycnogenol, a natural extract from French maritime pine bark, improves healing and reduces skin discoloration following sclerotherapy, which is a minimally invasive procedure used to manage primary superficial veins, commonly known as spider veins. So before I get into what sclerotherapy is, what procedure that is, also with regards to what Pycnogenol is. And Pycnogenol, many of you will be aware that it is the pimple powder. It is formulation of OPC-3, but I'll speak about that more. I think this is really, really interesting research because it really shows us the capacity of blood vessels. And we've got to keep our blood vessels healthy as we get older. So as we get older, blood vessels in our legs, because we decondition, because the valves within the vessels in our legs get weaker, we can actually start to have problems with them. Varicose veins, swelling in the legs, the calves, the feet. We can have feet problems, leg problems. It can start to get quite interesting, the issues that can happen when the cardiovascular system isn't and it doesn't remain healthy. So those of you out there who have high blood pressure, cholesterol issues, diabetes issues particularly, please listen to this because this information is pretty important. So before I explain the background behind the study, though, and why I'm so intrigued about this, is because and one of the questions you might be asking, well, what does Pycnogenol, or what does sclerotherapy of the legs have to do with chiropractic? Well, basically, chiropractic is about getting the spine and the nervous system working correctly. To do this, stresses that have been built up and stored away in the body, they can be locked into the body. They can also be locked into the brain, in our nervous system. They need to come out. So, and to explain that in how it works, have you ever thought of why, when you're stressed, you feel very tense? Why the body tenses up? Why the muscles in your body tense up? Your back, your legs, shoulders, neck, headaches. Even breathing is an issue. We don't breathe regularly. We don't breathe well when we have excessive amounts of stress. So all those things happen, and the reason why it happens is because the body is overloaded and the nervous system is overloaded by the stress response. It's the sympathetic nerve supply. It's the stress response in our body. Now, our brain and nervous system work on a survival mechanism to cope with stressful events, to cope with stressful things in our life. It's the fight or flight response. You may know it as that. And if you haven't heard of it, it's something just to really think about as we go through this information and as you go through your day. Now, the problem is, though, society isn't constructed today to keep us calm, keep our stress levels low, look after us in a healthy, stress-less state. Society is actually designed to keep us stressed, to keep this sympathetic system overloaded, to keep us in worry, to keep us stressed out. And this overwhelms us over a period of time. It overwhelms us. So have you noticed everywhere you look, there's stress, there's news bulletins, there's you wake up in the morning, you can be listening to the radio, you hear some things have happened, morning, noon, night. Now we're thinking about TV, we're thinking about radio, but what about social media? What about the phones? People shoot us things all the time. Look at this, look at that. There's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these social media platforms that are feeding us information from all around the world. We're doomed to fail pretty much. How can we stay stressed less if we're being bombarded by so much information, news, which a lot of it is very stressful? So now the reason why social media does that to us is to keep us engaged. You may have heard, and there's been many studies over the years where it shows how good titles or pleasant titles or happy titles in newspapers don't sell very well. When there is drama, when there are titles which hit the front page of newspapers, which are either controversial, which get people in fear. Like, for example, bad news one might be, for example, war in Ukraine. That will sell more newspapers and more headlines than, say, for example, sunlight is good for you. Now, the war in Ukraine is a very bad thing, but what does it have to do with our day-to-day function? Sunlight, though, has a lot to do with our day-to-day function. But I think you see my point with regards to bad news sells. So we need to be aware of that. Basically, our society is constructed so that we can't pretty much win and live a stress-free environment unless we go out into the wilderness. And who's going to do that? We need our technology. We want to live with it, but that's just, we need to be knowledgeable of how the system functions. So with that being said, that's how chiropractic fits in. Chiropractic makes sure that we're not, any stress which is locked in is able to be unlocked. We look at our health and our nervous system like an onion, where we want to be peeling layers away. And we want to make sure that nothing that we go through, any stressful events or anything like that, really lock the nerve system down so that it doesn't function correctly. The reason why we want to do that is because the nervous system is supplying and coordinating everything, our organs, our glands, our blood vessels, everything. I'll get into blood vessels in a minute with this study. So obviously we want the nervous system to be working well so that organs and glands can work well. And this study is about blood vessels. So it was published in the Minerva Surgery journal. And in it, the study involved 161 women treated with standard compression sclerotherapy for spider veins. Now, part of this process is half the women were taken into the Pycnogenol group and half the women were taken into a control group. What they did is the women actually had, all of them actually had small surgeries on the blood vessels in the legs. They're called spider veins. They basically come to the surface just underneath the skin. They discolor the skin, etc. And what this study is showing is that following those procedures, there was either coloration, and it was testing whether there's more coloration or less coloration in the two groups. And what the results actually found was there was marketed less discoloration in those who were taking the Pycnogenol. Now, the reason why this happens is Pycnogenol actually dilates blood vessels. Every blood vessel, including the major blood vessels around our heart, aorta, etc., but also the minute blood vessels, so the very, very small ones. Now, the smallest blood vessels we have are in the eyes. They're the smallest blood vessels we have, and also very small blood vessels in the lungs. But as we start to get down to smaller blood vessels in the extremities, we have a lot of small blood vessels in the hands and also the feet and the lower legs. Now, these small blood vessels are there to help us coordinate blood flow, cold, hot, bring nutrients to the area as well. But as we get older, if we don't stay as healthy, these small blood vessels deteriorate. So that's why as we get older, vision deteriorates. And why we get older, legs, etc., become more of an issue with regards to the small blood vessels. We might start getting cramps. We might not heal as fast, especially if we have conditions like high blood pressure. If we have conditions like diabetes, this actually affects the function of all our blood vessels, and most notably the small blood vessels. So what it's stating is that in summary, it's stating that the discoloration from the procedure, from the surgical procedure, was less in those who take Pycnogenol. So this is really good news. Basically, what it says is it helps skin, it helps inflammation, it helps blood vessels, and that's what we want. So my recommendation is, and we recommend to a lot of people, to take Pycnogenol on a regular basis to make sure the cardiovascular system is getting more blood flow through it, and there's less stress on that system. So the study itself, if I was to actually, I'll take you to the study itself just for 1 second. So just you can see what it actually looks like, and this is it here in PubMed. Most of our publications are in PubMed. You can look them up whenever you like. It comes in background, methods, results, and what we really look through is results, conclusions that it is actually making, and whether it's valid for something to be used or something that needs to be examined further. So basically what it's stating is that this is very helpful for blood vessels. So now, one of the things too, if I go to some more research on Pycnogenol itself, there's over 40 years of research on Pycnogenol. It's very safe. There have been studies which I've put out before with regards to, there have been groups where they've all participants in the studies have gone on long-haul plane flights, which are notorious for causing issues in the legs with regards to circulation, swelling, blood pressure issues because of the altitude and the pressure in the cabins. And the groups taking Pycnogenol through before, during, and after the flights, and those who don't. And these studies show that there's less swelling and there's less incidence of blood clots and things like that, which are complications of plane flight. So these are, these studies continue to come out, which is actually extraordinary. So I was just put this there for you, just some food for thought, just to make sure you're understanding with regards to how Pycnogenol dilates blood vessels, decreases inflammation, takes the stress off the heart, the cardiovascular system. And why does it relate to chiropractic? Because in chiropractic, we're looking to take the stress down from everywhere. We don't want the cardiovascular system stressed. We don't want the nervous system stressed. We don't want any of our organs, glands, or anything like that stressed. So just have a think about that. When you're driving home from work today, or you're at home, and you're trying to relax in front of the TV, just be aware of what's coming in, what you're listening to with regards to social media, those sorts of things. Just really protect yourself and make sure that we keep ourselves as stress-free as possible, because our society is not set up that way. It's not set up to de-stress us. It's actually set up to stress us. So any questions, let me know. I'm Dr. Mark from Adjusted Chiropractic. If you are watching this video on YouTube, just subscribe so you can be forwarded other videos that I do, and also like it too. If you like the information in this video, just hit the thumbs up. Any questions, come to me with their email. I call the practice. We're here for any questions. Okay, bye for now.